One of the best in baseball here for some October baseball now in the LCS. In both the National League and the American League, Jack McMullin gets us straight for the action in the NLCS after Game 2 between the Mets and the Dodgers, ahead of Game 2 tonight in the Bronx between the Yankees and the Guardians. Jack, we appreciate the time, as always, doing great work for Just Baseball Media throughout this playoff run here on this Tuesday morning, bright and early on the early line. Jack McMullin, as always, thanks for your time.
Ben, I don't need a round of applause or anything, but I will say I'm out in Arizona right now for the Arizona Fall League. I typically get up at 9:30 for you guys because,
Wow.
it's Eastern time, Indianapolis. I did the 6:30 thing because I was like, any chance I get to talk to Ben Stevens is a chance I cannot let slip by. Is that fair?
Oh.
Hey, Joe, by the way, how you doing?
Yeah, nice to meet you. Jack, Joe, Jack, good to have you both here.
You laying it on thick this early, Jack. You laying it on real thick this early.
Joe, I mean, listen, it's the environment I try to cultivate here on TEL for all of our honored guests, and Jack McMullin is certainly that. Jack, you calling games out in the Arizona Fall League? What are you doing out there?
No, not calling games. Just watching a bunch of these prospects play ball, man. It's been really fun. We've seen this kid. Did you see the kid at Florida, Jack Caglione, this year? The two-way guy,
Jackie Cags. Yeah.
They called him Jack Tani, all that stuff. He's scrapping, pitching. It seems this guy is like the craziest physical specimen I've seen of a 21-year-old. But like we're getting looks at like a Caglione. Philly's top prospect, Andrew Painter, 6'7" kid, can run it up to 100. Missed the last 2 years with Tommy John surgery. So seeing him now, this is I'm kind of in hog heaven prospect wise out in Arizona. So this has been awesome.
Look at this guy, man. Never takes a day off. Always on the future of Major League Baseball. Maybe those guys will be in a pennant chase at some point in their MLB careers. See that natural transition to the NLCS in game number 2 yesterday afternoon at the Ravine in downtown Los Angeles. The Dodgers win game 1 big, 9-zip. They entered game 2, Jack, riding a 33-inning scoreless streak against their opposition. In the very first at-bat of Game 2, Francisco Lindor says, ha, 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 nice historic streak. Here's a solo shot off Ryan Brazier. Mark Vientos ups him in the second with a grand salami, and the Mets never look back, evening up the National League Championship Series at a game all with a 7-3 win in game number 2. What did the Mets offensively do yesterday to tie this series at a game apiece?
They felt the heat, and they dealt with it within the kitchen. I think that's the most important thing, because if they do lie down in a bullpen game, and I know that Walker Buehler has struggled, and I know that Yoshinobu Yamamoto has not been entirely healthy, but if you go back to New York, if you go into the off day, the travel day, where you're boarding a cross-country flight down 2-0, that is demoralizing. And it had to happen right away, because the Dodgers had all of their leverage arms remaining. We talk about the high leverage guys, the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning guys. For the Dodgers, I'm talking about Blake Trinan, Michael Kopech. Vesia is hurt at this point, but Evan Phillips was available as well. You turn to all of those guys, get the guys that aren't them early. And Francisco Lindor got Brazier, and Mark Vientos got Landon Knack, a rookie who has been in the starting rotation for the back half of the year for the LA Dodgers. So they got to the right guys. They made their presence felt early, which is exactly what they needed to do. And frankly, they needed to do it with homers. I like the whole stringing hits together thing. It's cool. It's fun. But how about that solo shot to open the game? And you're right, Ben. It's like that record you got here, not anymore. I don't know if they were an inning away or an out away from the all-time postseason record, because it was 33, and they were sitting on 33 flat. But the fact that, A, they didn't get that, and B, they were down from the jump, the Dodgers were down from the jump on that Lindor homer, meant absolutely everything to the New York Mets. And Sean Manaea with a shutdown first, and Manaea with a shutdown inning after the Vientos grand slam, I thought was absolutely everything.
I was mentioning to Ben earlier, Jack, that, listen, Dave Roberts feels like he's been on the hot seat forever. But I don't envy what he's got to do to navigate this. I think if this was a best-of-5 series, we'd be having a different conversation about who came in that game yesterday, and none of those high leverage guys would have been in the bullpen. They would have had to have come in. But it being a best of 7, what else? What choice does he have? I mean, how does he navigate as this series moves on with these arms and the lack of lefties? I mean, it's enviable. It really is. I mean, I wish him all the best. I don't know that he can pull it off.
Who's on a more perpetual hot seat? Real quick question for you guys: Dave Roberts or Ryan Day at Ohio State? Like both those guys. It's like, if you lose one, you might be done.
Yeah,
like
I think both. Jack,
gotta
it's
be
the same
Dave
thing,
Roberts,
though, right?
though.
It's national championship or World Series or bust, and if you fall short of that expectation, whether it's Dave Roberts or Ryan Day this year, that pressure cooker gets heated up even more.
It's the same exact thing. So like that's the thing that I really wanted to highlight here. But Joe, I'm entirely with you. Like, what is Dave Roberts really gonna do here in a bullpen game? Like, is he gonna start Kopech? No, I don't think so.
Right.
It would be nice to kind of have a tone setter right away. I was of the thinking that they should probably just start Knack, and if he gives you a shutout first, you run him out there for the second, and if he gives you a shutout second, you run him out there for the third, because you can effectively use that as a starting pitcher. Now, Knack was the first guy out of the bullpen. It didn't work very well. I mentioned this on the Just Baseball show for today. I think Alex Vesia not being in there is going to really hurt the Dodgers at some point. That's a lefty reliever that has been one of the best in all of baseball. The fact that they cannot turn to him might be detrimental. But, it was a tough situation that Dave Roberts found himself in. I do like that they went with the bullpen day that day as opposed to the Buehler start on normal rest. They give Buehler 2 more days rest. And the bullpen day makes a lot of sense because A, you didn't use any of those the high leverage arms in game 1. Yeah. And B, you have the off day following that. So that was the right day to do the bullpen thing. I do think that it was correct in theory, maybe poor in execution from Dave Roberts yesterday.
So, Jack, we appreciate your insight always, not just because you know baseball better than most, but we had you here in the start. No. I'm highlighting why. You were here when we started this Paul Skeens sensation. In Skeens Day, you called his outings in Indianapolis in AAA ball. And at Just Baseball Media, you guys have had Walker Buehler be a co-host, be on shows, open up dialogue with you as he recovered from Tommy John. It's been an incredible 2 years for Walker Buehler to get back even to this point, to return to MLB in 2024. It has been a struggle, as you well know. And the Dodgers are a slight favorite in Game 3 on the road in Queens tomorrow, and Walker Buehler gets the start. So you have that unique perspective. What does Walker describe to you guys at Just Baseball Media about his road back and the confidence that he feels at this point?
Well, this is a guy that is never going to shy away from a big moment. I think he's made that abundantly clear in his career. And, I thought that NLDS start against the Padres was pretty darn telling, to be honest with you. This guy gritted and grinded through that outing. And a 6 spot went up against him, and there were some defensive miscues, yada, yada, yada. He came back. He had shutdown inning after that crooked number. I think this guy is hyper competitive, which is exactly what you need. This guy was one of the best pitchers on the planet before his second Tommy John surgery. Simply put, he's trying to find his elbow again, frankly. And his body changed a little bit. So he kind of rediscovered his body. He kind of thinned out from some of his early starts this year. I think this guy is feeling as good as he has felt all season long. And he's going to try to match this moment, man. He's Walker Buehler. Those postseason numbers are really good.
Baseball in New York City. Game 3 tomorrow in Queens. Game 2 tonight in the Bronx. We look at the ALCS with Jack next. With great pressure comes great responsibility, and the Yankees answer the call in game number 1 of the American League Championship Series last night in the Bronx inside Yankee Stadium against the Cleveland Guardians. 5-2 the victory, Jack, for the Pinstripes in game number 1 of the ALCS. Carlos Rodon, sensational. Juan Soto and Giancarlo Stanton continue to deliver. Heck, even Aaron Judge, an RBI sac fly last night in game number 1. What impressed you the most out of the Pinstripes' performance in the opening game of the ALCS?
It was the lefty that you're seeing on the screen right now, man. As simple as that. I love the Soto homer. The Stanton homer is great, and playoff Stanton is a thing. You look at his OPS over the course of his postseason career, it's over 1,000. This guy, I think, has a 1009 OPS. He has been amazing, but it is the lefty, Carlos Rodon. The way that I put it on today's show was this was a put-up-or-shut-up start for Carlos Rodon after bouncing around on the hill in the first inning of his start in the ALDS against Kansas City and then getting racked after that. And guess what? Like, he put up. You can put up. That's one of the options in a put-up-or-shut-up game. And he totally did that. He was cool. He was calm. He was collected. He got that first punch out. He was racking up whiffs, and he wasn't sticking his tongue out. He wasn't bouncing around. He wasn't, cracking a smile to every infielder. He said, you know what? Like, I got burned last week. Let's not do that again. And the fact that he piled up 25 swings and misses yesterday, I've got the list. It was tied for, I think, the fourth most swings and misses in a postseason start since they started tracking that. That is the pitch tracking era. Yeah. Garrett Cole, the Houston Astro, 33 swings and misses in the 2019 ALDS. Tim Lincecum got 31 in 2010, and Zach Wheeler had 30 last week in Game 1 of the NLDS. But, Rodon just entered that elite of company where nobody was touching him, and it was Whiff City. It was domination from him, and that was so important. And the moment that you start to feel the heat, the Yankees are turning to their new closer, man. They've got a guy. Clay Holmes had some volatility there, but all of a sudden, Luke Weaver might be the Yankee closer, which is crazy because he was cast aside by Arizona, he was cast aside by Cincinnati and by Seattle in 2022. And they found something here. That's abundantly clear.
It's interesting. If there's any silver lining, right? Cade Smith, Herron, Gaddis, Class A didn't have to be used last night. So the arms are fresh for the Guardians. The bad news is it's still the middle of their order was 0 for 11 last night, I believe, with Thomas and Ramirez and Naylor. Yeah, and now you got to go up against Cole. So how does this game shape out, do you think, here tonight? Ace versus ace.
I'm really excited for it. I think this is going to be theater, man. And I feel like, understandably, it's skewed towards the Yankees here because Cole was the best pitcher on the planet coming into this year, and he's a top 5 pitcher in Major League Baseball to go into next year as well. But don't sleep on Tanner Bybee. Bybee is really good. I have no idea how long the leash is going to be for Bybee. Is it going to be 4? Is it going to be 6? I would like to see 6, but you've got the off day, and you mentioned, Joe, you have that big 4 of Smith, Herron, Gaddis, Class A, turn to them. The script that I feel like Stephen Vogt would build for this game is Bybee gives him 5, and then you go to Herron for the 6th, Cade for the 7th, Gaddis for the 8th, Class A for the 9th. And all those guys get an inning of work. You go into the off day, and then you try to run it back in Cleveland. I feel like that is the way that they are going to approach this. We'll see what happens if the Yankees slap 2 on Bybee. I could see Vogt pulling an early plug on Bybee. I don't think that is the right decision here because Matt Boyd went 2 in his final start. And Alex Cobb, it's kind of it's a fight to get to 3 with Cobb. You have a guy that's really good in Tanner Bybee. Let him try and work 5 innings of 2-run ball, and I hope that he does.
Tanner Bybee started both games 1 and 4 in the ALDS against the Tigers. The Guardians won both of those games. He allowed just 2 earned total runs in 8 2/3 innings of work. So it is an aces affair today in the Bronx. Of course, Garrett Cole delivered in Game 4 when the Yankees needed it most to clinch the American League Division Series against the Kansas City Royals. Again, that is the pitching matchup today. Jack, the Yankees are a hefty favorite with Cole on the bump. They were greater than a $2 favorite yesterday to win Game 1. They do so. They're a minus 360 favorite to win the American League pennant, to win their first pennant in the American League in 15 years since their last World Series championship in 2009. We have talked about a favorable path for New York. We have talked about the pressure that ensues with that perceived favorable path. How long will this American League championship set go against Cleveland?
I have 5. I know a couple of my co-hosts have 6. Soto is Soto, and playoff Stanton is a thing. And Aaron Judge, I do think that the struggles are over-documented, if that's a thing. I mean, this guy, like, I understand that the numbers do not look that good this postseason. But at the end of the day, nobody's really pitching to him because they know that Aaron Judge hitting 133 in the postseason or not could be the guy that hits a ball 470 off of them at the wrong time. So I do think that this lineup is running laps around the Guardians lineup. But I love Jose Ramirez, and Lane Thomas has had a heck of a postseason. But you cannot look at the starting 9 for the Cleveland Guardians and the starting 9 for the New York Yankees and tell me that they look the same. And I love the Cleveland bullpen. You got to have a lead to hand it off to the Cleveland bullpen. And I have no idea if they're going to be able to do that, more than twice.
Yep. And the bullpen right now for the New York Yankees, Luke Weaver in the back end, man. A 5-out save, as you alluded to, Jack, to end out game 1. They have found their closer. All 4 playoff wins for the Yanks. Luke Weaver has recorded the save and shut the door. Not listed on the ALCS MVP odds. What are we doing, FanDuel Sports? But get him up there. He deserves to be in consideration. Jack McMullin, our MVP for playoff baseball. Joe loves this love affair that we have given out here on this Tuesday on the early line. Jack McMullin from Just Baseball Media, we appreciate your time. Thanks for being here.
Ben Stevens, I will always get up early for you, man.
Oh,
and that goes for you too, Joe Ranieri. Don't forget, enjoy Arizona. We end out hour 2 next. Live right here on the early line, we continue our reaction to the big breaking news around the NFL. Devante Adams is being traded from Las Vegas to reunite with his former quarterback in Green Bay, but now with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. We welcome on Craig Mish, who will join us today to do a little bit of everything. Continue reaction from this breaking news around the NFL, and of course, a look at where we stand in the LCSs around Major League Baseball. The host of Newswire starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Craig, I'm sure you will have plenty more on this trade between the Jets and the Raiders for New York to acquire Devante Adams in our next hour as well. Glad to have you here, though, for some of your reaction to this big breaking news.
Yeah, look, I mean, you pair up the 2 most dysfunctional franchises in the NFL, and you get a trade like this. So it does make sense. I'm actually a little concerned for Jacoby Myers right now. Like, do you think he's really hurt or not? I mean, I don't know. He didn't play last week either. But guys, look, this is obviously a horrible move for the New York Jets. They have no idea what they're doing. You have a Hall of Fame coach last night going on a broadcast who takes shots at no one for 30 years. And then all of a sudden takes a shot at the owner of the New York Jets, unheard of. On top of it, to have any faith in this team, there's nothing being discussed. 3 months ago, Mike Williams was a $10 million wide receiver for the New York Jets, guaranteed $8 million. They're not even going to play the guy the rest of the season. They're willing to burn $10 million to bring in another receiver who's not going to be happy also in a couple of weeks. I think the Raiders did really well. I think they got themselves a nice draft pick. They're going to probably get some more for some other players too. So while Adams is one of the best receivers in the NFL, he's going to a horrible situation. The Jets will be drafting top 5, top 10, and they will have a new quarterback next season.
So, Craig, I think overall, when we think about where all of this stands, the question is it worth it for New York to be so fully invested in what seems to be a sinking ship with a 40-year-old quarterback, restructuring your franchise, giving up valuable draft capital for the future in what might be a failed season, if even at bare minimum they are unable to reach the playoffs and snap that 13-year postseason drought? It does not sound like you are overly optimistic that Davante Adams is that missing link for this New York team. However, the odds makers moving the price as we speak. Win total, playoff price off the board on FanDuel, but a 20-1 AFC championship price for the Jets is now already shorter by $3 at 17-1. Still tied for 5th, still relatively long, but Davante Adams perceived as a market mover. Again, Craig, I'm not sure anybody is buying into the idea the Jets are a true contender in the division, the AFC East, in the conference, the AFC as a whole. but can the New York Jets resurrect their season to at least earn a playoff berth for the first time in 14 years now with Devante Adams? Okay.
No, this is a ridiculous question. With all due respect, Ben, we see this time and time again in the NFL. Desperate teams make desperate moves. They trade away the most valuable assets in sports: baseball, football, basketball, hockey. You do not trade draft picks because that is unfortunately cost-controlled labor for years and years. Just ask Jamar Chase, who should be making so much more money for the Cincinnati Bengals, but he has got to go through it. At the time that Russell Wilson was traded to Denver, it was the best trade by the Seattle Seahawks ever in the NFL. When the Browns got Deshaun Watson, it was the same. Don't acquire players in the middle to the end of their careers and give up draft picks. It never works out. It's not going to work out here. Horrible move, I think, for the Jets, and a waste of time, a waste of our time to even have to talk about this today.
I agree 100%, Greg. Expecting the Jets to do anything different other than be the Jets, I think, is just a crazy proposition here. So can we talk baseball, please? Because I want to throw up green right now and the New York Jets.
Sure.
I'm so sick and tired of them. But let's talk some baseball here, because we got a couple of pretty big series going on right now. We got Game 2 coming up here tonight, and I can't wait to hear this pitching matchup and who you like in it.
Yeah, look, I think at this point you have to look at the Yankees as the big favorite here, but I think you would look at the same way with the Dodgers. The only difference is going into this game is clearly Garrett Cole's a 5, 6, 7 inning pitcher as opposed to Ryan Brazier, who got crushed early on in the game. I still think Cleveland's got a great shot to win the series, regardless if they win tonight or not. Obviously, getting plus 150 to me would be the way to go, because I do think in any game, the biggest advantage of any team in the postseason is Cleveland's after the 6th and 7th inning because of Emmanuel Clase. He is the best relief pitcher in baseball. He is the only shutdown relief pitcher that you can guarantee to get 3 or 4 outs at the end of the game. I still think Cleveland is very alive as a dog in this series, and I wouldn't rule out them winning tonight, nor would I rule out them winning this series in 6 or 7. Do not give up on the Guardians just yet.
So, Craig, you think this one potentially could go the distance? A huge Game 2 tonight in the Bronx. Cleveland does not want to head back home to the land trailing 0-2. It will not be the case for the Mets when they return to Citi Field, as they even up the set in the NLCS yesterday. Day baseball against the Dodgers in L.A. 7-3 the victory for New York. We're tied at a game all in the NLCS in the final minute of this segment. How long does this series go between the Amazons and the Dodgers?
This should be a great series. Tough for me to predict this one. Again, I'm leaning Cleveland in the other one because I do think, again, it'll come down to a one-run game in Game 7. The Dodgers, I would anticipate, Ben, winning the Yamamoto game, which will be coming up. I don't know if they can win tonight. I think the Mets do have the advantage. But 1 out of every 2 games, it feels like the Dodgers have a good pitcher. And then the other game, they're in big trouble. I mean, to have 30 scoreless innings, shutout innings for their pitchers, unheard of. Don't even know how they ended up pulling that off with all the relief pitching they have. So it's kind of like 1 good game for the Dodgers, 1 bad game for the Dodgers. So what does that tell you? This is probably going 6 or 7 games. Too close to call for me. But as we get closer, I'll definitely have a stronger opinion. I like Cleveland a little bit more in the other series.